So this is the login screen. You're going to type your username and password in here as you normally would. Click sign in. All right, so when you normally log in, this will be the first screen that you see. It should just be either blank or it's going to have some URLs listed in it. So from this screen, the layout of .cms should look pretty familiar to all of you. You have your dashboard and your site editor here on the left-hand side. Chances are you probably don't have the rest of the stuff beneath that because those are admin tools. So to get into editing pages, you're going to click Site Editor. You're going to click Browse. And then this will be the next screen. So once you're on this screen, you've got all these options over here. These are basically all the folders that you have access to. I have all the folders because I'm an admin, so I can see every single section of the Gettysburg College website. But if you only have access to a certain department, you will see just the departments that you have access to listed over here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go into my training folder to show you some things. Let's go into, all right, so this is my training folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by building a web page inside of a folder. Building web pages as well as uploading images or PDF files always starts with clicking this orange button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. You'll notice it says folder, page, image or file, multiple files, or menu link. The multiple file upload feature is currently defunct, so it's not working. So if you can see it, do not try to use it because it's not going to work for you. If you need to upload a PDF, you will have to use the single image or file feature, which means that you basically upload one thing at a time. So one image at a time, or one PDF at a time, or one doc file at a time. Then, of course, you also have the ability to create new folders and new pages. We're going to create a new page, so I'm going to click Page. Make sure you select 0 Gettysburg Page Asset and select. That will take you to this screen here. And on this screen, we're going to give our page a title. So I'm going to make a page about coronavirus restrictions. So that's going to be the title of my page. I typed out COVID-19 restrictions on campus. Now, site or folder here. This is where your page is located inside the folder structure. And I want you to pay extra special attention to this feature because you need to always be placing your content in the appropriate folder. And if you do not do so, it will affect your ability to access your content later. So what you're going to do is click the down arrow. Going to click on gettysburg.edu and click the plus sign. Then you're going to navigate to where your page is located. And then once you get to where your page is located, mine's in training, users, and it's in J. Johnstow. So once you've located the page and selected it, now you've placed your content inside the appropriate folder, which gives you the permissions to go back later and make edits. If you do not have permissions assigned properly, when you go back to make your edits, it will not let you do anything with that piece of content or page that you've created. Next thing to talk about is the URL. I want to talk about building URLs because URL should not always be a direct translation of the title. So a URL is really focused on keywords. So COVID-19 restrictions are keywords. We're going to focus on those and leave those in the URL. We're going to get rid of the word on because it is not really a keyword. It's a generic term. And we're going to just do COVID-19 restrictions campus. So COVID-19-restrictions-campus. And that is going to be our final URL for this page. The next thing we're going to go over is we are going to choose a template. I'm going to choose an office template to keep this simple because a lot of you are working in offices. So type 0 office. I'm going to select 0 office secondary page 2 column 2020. And that is probably the most the type of template you're going to be using most often. There's another one for departments. If you type 0 department secondary 2-page call 2020, that is a secondary page for a department, like like any of the academic departments at the school. I'm going to go back to Office real quick just to demonstrate with an Office page. Just remember, you can always perform a search by starting to type out the name of the template. And all of the templates start with zeros. Remember that. All right. So once you've saved, you're going to see an interface that looks slightly different from what you saw in the past. This is where some of the features of DotCMS have been moved around and placed in different places than where they were before in the past. So I'm going to start out just by circling all of the key features of this interface. So there's your edit tab. There's your preview tab. There's your live preview. There's your lock button. And I'm just going to put an arrow here. Just so that everyone can clearly see that. And then there's also your page properties over here, which are on the right-hand side of the screen with a little plus sign above it. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, what all these different features are and how they work. I'm sure you probably remember the concept of like locking or unlocking a page in the past, because I'm sure you've been asked to unlock pages in the past by our department or maybe by people that you work with. So that feature, the functionality is exactly the same as it used to be. It just looks different. The edit feature functions pretty much the same as it used to. Preview is pretty much what it used to be, and live is just an alternate version of preview. It's almost exactly the same thing. And then page properties is just the normal page properties, but it's located in a different area of the screen, basically. So let's dive in and start using these features. So let's say you wanted to make edits to the page. The first thing you do is click edit. Once you click edit, I want you to pay attention to some things that have changed. So after I clicked edit, edit is now highlighted with a little blue line underneath of it to indicate that I have selected the editing feature. I also see I also see these boxes down here, which is where you add content. I also see these. And we're going to talk about all these things real quick. So once you've clicked edit, like I said, a little blue bar appears beneath edit, and edit lights up blue as well to indicate that you are making edits. The other thing that happens is this lock symbol flips from one side to the other and turns orange. And what that means is that you have locked the page for editing. Now, I want to emphasize this because when you're done making edits to a page, it is not going to unlock it automatically. You are going to have to click that to unlock it when you're done. So remember, when you click edit, the orange lock symbol will automatically lock. And when you're done making edits, you will have to click the orange lock symbol to unlock the page when you're done. All right, let's talk about the features of the page itself. I'm going to clear my illustrations. So if you want to add a piece of content to this page, you're going to click this orange plus symbol. You're going to click content. And then notice how this window has changed a bit. So in the past, you would just go right into making a brand new piece of content. Now it is actually prompting you to search for existing pieces of content. So let's say you already wrote your content and it's in this list. You could search for the name by saying, like, I typed COVID. Notice how now a bunch of COVID related pages like the COVID dashboard, COVID status page, all are coming up. And if I click select on the right-hand side of the screen, I could pull those pieces of content into this new page that I'm building. If you want to reuse content, that is how you reuse content in the new system. Now, if you want to create a new piece of content, you need to go over to the new orange button over here, and you need to click that orange button. Notice how when you click the orange button, you can now create 0 Gettysburg content generic. And once you click that, now you are in the interface to create a brand new piece of content. Does anyone have any questions about how we got here? Okay, then we'll keep going. So I'm going to give my page a title. So when you're giving your page a title, I would like you to always type out the name of the page first. Then you're going to type out the department that it is a part of. So I'm just going to assume that I'm making this page for Better Together, because that's the section of the website where we have all this stuff. I'm just going to put in parentheses training, because this is not a real Better Together page. This is just a training page. And then I'm going to put the year behind that. And using this pattern helps us look up content if you were to misplace or delete a piece of content. So I want you to pay extra special attention to the structure of this. So there is the page title. There is the department or area. This could be an office or a certain section of the website, like admissions. It could be a specific office like the registrar. It could be an academic department like the chemistry department. That is what goes here in between. And then finally, the year at the very end. and that is the current year. All right, so now that we've built an appropriate title for our piece of content, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place our piece of content on the appropriate page, or I'm sorry, in the appropriate folder where the page is located. See site here, I'm going to highlight it. Please remember to always place your content in the appropriate folder by clicking the down arrow, clicking the plus next to gettysburg.edu, and then navigating to the folder where your content is located. This also has to do with permissions. And like I mentioned before, if you do not have the appropriate folder listed there, when you go back to make changes to your content, you're not going to have access to your content unless the appropriate folder is selected. And please try to remember that, because that is a common issue that we encounter on a regular basis in CNM. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to be building out a web page. So I'm just going to grab some dummy content so I can build my page. All right, so I'm going to grab some dummy text here. And I'm just going to copy and paste some dummy text into WYSIWYG mode, which is the editor where you have, the ability to add bold text, italics, underlines, bullet points, images. It's this editor where you can use all these features up here at the top. This is different than code view. I will get into code view later because we are going to go into code view for a moment later in the training. But this is what I mean when I'm talking about WYSIWYG mode. So I'm just going to give myself 5 paragraphs of dummy text so that I have some language to work with. So first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about structuring a document. So let's say this is a web page with 5 paragraphs of information, and we need to structure that page so that there is a header 2 as the first and top level subheading. And then there are header 3s as well as header 4s on the page. And we're going to talk about the relationship between H2s, H3s, and H4s and how they're all related to one another so that you can properly structure your pages. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in my subheadings. So we're going to do introduction. That is going to be our first heading. And I'm going to make that an H2 because that is our top level heading. Beyond introduction, we're going to have a section on mask wearing. And that's also going to be header 2. And we're going to have a section on social distancing, which is also going to be a header 2. These are all top level, right beneath the H1. These are all the top level topics of our page in a sense. So every section is going to have subsections. So we have an H2 for mask wearing, but let's say underneath mask wearing as a topic, we have where, let's do where to purchase a compliant mask. So that's going to be an H3. And the reason why it's an H3 is because it is a subtopic of our H2, which is mask wearing. So that is what H3s are. They are subtopics of header 2s. That's why they're called H3s. Now, just for the sake of example, let's say as our subtopic of where to purchase a compliant mask, let's say that there is another subtopic of that. Like, let's say we're going to have some more explanation down here about where you can buy a mask. I'm just going to grab a little bit of dummy text and create 3 subtopics of where to purchase a compliant mask, which is an H3. So we're going to do header 4s for these subtopics of our header 3. So let's say book college bookstore is an option for where you can buy a compliant mask. But we're going to make that a header 4 as a subtopic of our header 3. Let's say we're going to promote Amazon.com. And Amazon.com is a place where you can buy compliant masks, and maybe there are specific ones that we're okay with. And then let's say Walmart is going to be like another place where you can buy a compliant mask, and maybe we have a list of brands that we're okay with students buying from Walmart. So now we have a structure where we have header 2 for introduction, header 2 for mask wearing, header 2 for social distancing, and then under mask wearing, we have a header 3 for where to purchase a compliant mask, and then we have header 4s for the places that we're recommending for where you can buy a compliant mask. I'm going to do another one of these just for the sake of example. Let's say under social distancing, we want to have some subtopics underneath of that, like let's say we do, how do you socially distance? And that's a subtopic of our H2. That would be a header 3. Because like I said, it's a subtopic of our header 2. Thus, it is an H3. And then let's say maybe, let's say socially distancing let's say socially distancing in the gym is a subtopic. We're going to make that an H3 as well, because it's a subtopic of our social distancing. We're going to add a little bit of dummy text underneath of there. And then under socially distancing in the gym, let's say we're going to have like some specific breakdowns by like areas within the gym and like what our expectations are for those specific regions of the gym. So let's say let's say the weights area of the gym. That could be a header 4. let's say the cardio equipment has some special rules associated with it. We're going to make that an H4. And let's say that, let's say the pool also has some special socially distancing related expectations associated with it too. So we're going to make that an H4. So now we have an H2 of socially distancing, an H2 explanation of how do you socially distance, another, I'm sorry, an H3, H3 subhead of how do you socially distance, an H3 subhead of socially distancing in the gym, and then H4s for weights, cardio equipment, and pool, because those are subtopics of our socially distancing in the gym subhead. So now we have a fairly well structured page with not only H2s, but H3s and also H4s, so that we drill down to really specific topics on the page and we keep a structure in place. Let's just pause here for a moment. And does anyone have any questions about using H2s, H3s, or H4s, or why we do this? Okay, then we're going to just move on through the training. Some things to know about H2s is there are a couple different reasons as to why we use H2s. Proper page structure is really good for what's called search engine optimization. So whenever Google's little robots read your web page, they're going to scan the H2s, the H3s, and the H4s, and they're going to use that to categorize your web page and to help find keywords on your web page that help your page rank in Google search. So that way, if there's a student who's searching on Google for information about Gettysburg College, they are more likely to find what they're looking for if you have proper page structure in place. Another thing is H2s, H3s, and H4s are useful in making content more accessible. More accessibility is the ability for a person with some kind of disability to access your content. So let's say that a blind person is trying to read this page with a screen reader. The screen reader is going to read the H2, H3, and H4 content, and it's going to use that to read the page out loud to the user. So using this kind of page structure is not only good for search engine optimization, it's also good for accessibility. So we always want to use proper page structure when we're building our pages. So then the next thing we're going to move on to in our CMS training is we're going to add an image to this page. I'm just going to do like maybe just like 1 or 2 images for an example for all of you. So if you wanted to put an image in WYSIWYG, you would start by clicking in front of your text where you want to float the image. So I'm clicking in front of this Palantesk over here. Let's actually zoom up. So under introduction, where it says Palantesk, I'm going to just put my cursor there. I'm going to click this little insert edit image icon. This is going to come up. I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to gettysburg.edu. I'm going to go into the opening section. Because I know I have some images in here. All right, so I selected a picture of the Jaeger Center that has a bunch of signs on the front of it that say that you need to wear a mask when entering the gym. So now that I've selected that image, I'm going to give my image a description. So in image description, what we're doing here is we're describing what is in the image to a person who is potentially blind. So you need to look at the picture and describe what you see in the image. I already saw the picture, so I know what's in it. It is the doors of the Jaeger Center with signs about mask wearing on the doors. So I'm literally typing out a translation of what is in the image into the image description, which is also known as alt text. You may have heard the phrase alt text before. And so whenever a screen reader reads this page out loud to a person with, you know, maybe who's blind or has trouble reading or has trouble seeing, they are going to hear this description read out loud to them so that they understand what's in the picture. After that, you're just going to click OK. And notice how now this picture of the Jaeger Center is kind of just floating like this. It's kind of awkward looking. It doesn't really look proper. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to scroll on the side of the page down to this menu down here where it says WYSIWYG with a little orange arrow. You're going to switch to code view. Now at the top, let's zoom in a little bit. You see this image tag, which is what I placed in there with the WYSIWYG mode. So this is the image tag here. And we're going to make some edits to this image tag. First thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight height and width. And we're just going to backspace. We're going to delete that information. We are then going to type style. Do a style and put in width. Let's say we're going to do 40%. Remember that we use percentages because the website is responsive and we need the image to scale up and down relative to the size of the viewport. So if you want it to go across the whole screen, you do 100%. If you wanted it to go maybe 3/4 across the screen, you do 75%. If you want half the screen width, you do 50%. And if you want 1/4 the screen width, you do 25%. I'm choosing 40% because it's a personal favorite of mine. It's just kind of like the right amount of space when you're building a web page. So I'd recommend that you try out a width of 40%, see how you feel about it. If you think it's not big enough or you think it's too big, you can always just make some adjustments to your code. Next thing you're going to type is margin. You're going to do 1 EM. So let's talk about this measurement system known as EMs. EMs are probably somewhat foreign to all of you because unless you code quite a bit, you probably never see EMs. You're probably more used to seeing pixels. An EM is like a relative unit of measurement. So 1 EM is the exact height of the text on the website. So let's say in theory, the height of a line of text on the website were about 12 pixels in height. 1 EM would be equivalent to 12 pixels, if that is indeed the case. Now, let's say we updated our style sheet and we made the height of a line of text 10 pixels. That will automatically signal to all images with a margin of 1 EM that there should be 10 pixels of space around them instead of 12. That is the reason why we do it, so that if we were to update our style sheet, we could always know that the margins will remain consistent no matter what. All right, so there's a margin of 1 EM, and then the final thing we're going to do is float right. Let me just clear the drawing. So basically, this is what you end up with when we're all done. Style equals width 40%, margin 1 EM, float right. And I'm going to show you in a moment what this looks like on a web page. I just want to give everyone an opportunity to maybe write this down or take any kind of notes that you'd like to. Does anyone have any questions about coding images?
Darren, hey, it's Brad.
Yes.
I just wondered if, normally I've done this in the past, but I've always relied on sort of the guidance that's written down on like a Word, in like a Microsoft Word format. Is that still available somewhere? So I'm going to forget this in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But
tell you what, let me access the chat so I can send you this.
Okay, that would be helpful. Yeah. I mean, I could watch it, of course, again. Will this recording be available as well somewhere?
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to edit down this recording and make it into a video of CMS training.
Okay.
Which I know we desperately need something like that.
Well, if you could just put that in the chat for us and then we can copy and paste it in our notes, that'd be great.
Yep, one moment. It actually already exists on our website, but I'll just give it to you so that you don't have to search for it. All right, so if everyone takes a look at that website I just sent you, it's gettysburg.edu/offices/communications-marketing/web/CMS training. If you don't already have that bookmarked, I would highly recommend that you go to that page and you bookmark it, because it has pretty much the answer to every single question you'd ever have about using the CMS. And it will be your guide for whenever the CMS training is over and you just have questions you'd like to have answered. So let's move on to CMS training. So now we've built an image tag. So let's see what this looks like. I'm just going to zoom out back to 100%. I'm going to save and publish. So that's what you end up with. You end up with introduction. You end up with your text neatly wrapped around an image with a margin of 1 EM and floated at 40%.
Darren?
Yes.
While we're on this page, up at the very top of the editing screen, there underneath the orange dot, there are 3 little symbols. And I figured out, I guess X means close it, and the little pen means edit.
Yep.
But then what's this other one?
This one? This is the drag feature. This is how you drag, like let's say you had a couple chunks of content on a page.
Okay.
You could rearrange them up and down by dragging that symbol.
Okay, good.
And then you are correct. This is the edit symbol here.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you go back into your piece of content. And then if you want to delete it, you click the X, but always be careful with deleting content, because once you delete something, then we have to search for it based on the title that you gave the piece of content.
Okay.
But anyways, so we've gone over Subheads, we've gone over adding content to a page, and we've gone over adding images. So the next thing we're going to go into is let's talk real quick about uploading images as well as documents, because I want to do a little sidebar about that. So I'm going to back out of this page real quick. I want to show you how that process works. So let's say you're in here, you're editing your content, and you make some changes. Click Lock for Editing. Click Save and Publish. Now the screen's going to stay open after you click Save and Publish. It's not going to disappear. You're going to have to click the X button in the upper right-hand corner to back out. Now to exit this area, we're going to always unlock our content before we leave, which means clicking the orange slider. Now, once you click the orange slider and it turns from orange to white with a little unlock symbol, that means the page is now unlocked and you can leave and go about your day, basically. So let's back out of here and we're going to upload an image into our images folder. So to upload an image in an images folder, it starts out the same as building a page. You're going to click the orange button in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to click image or file, select 0 Gettysburg file asset, and then you'll be in this screen here. You're going to click browse. Then you're going to find your image. Like, let's say we're going to take this image of Hannah Collins and upload it into this folder. You're then going to save and publish. Then once you exit out, here's your image. Then you can either link the image by copying and pasting this, or you can always search for it whenever you use the WYSIWYG mode and search for images. That same process occurs when you upload a PDF document. You go to image or file, 0 Gettysburg file asset, browse. Let's say I want to upload this capstone document. I'll just grab that capstone document, upload it, save and publish. And then there you go. It's in there. Pretty simple. Now let's go back to my page. And let's link one of these PDFs. So we're going to click the lock symbol to lock our page. Click editing. Click the little pencil symbol next to our content. Now let's say we want to link maybe the first sentence of mask wearing to a PDF document. Sorry, wait a second. Switch to WYSIWYG mode first, so we can see our content in preview. We're going to grab this little bit of text, the first 3 words. We're going to click the insert edit link symbol. In the URL field, we're going to click the browse icon. We're going to go to gettysburg.edu. We're going to go into our training folder, which is where I uploaded that PDF. We're going to go to images. I think I actually shoved it in the images folder by accident, but that's where it is. So I grabbed my senior capstone 2020 PDF. Okay. And now if you save and publish, you can see that you've now linked this PDF over here to this text. And that's how you would link a PDF document as well as upload it. If you were to link a web page, let's talk about that. So we're going to go in here, we're going to edit content. Let's say we want to link this to a web page. We're going to click the link button. We're going to click browse. We're going to browse through gettysburg.edu to opening, campus life. And let's say we're going to link it to our athletics page. Click the athletics page. It populates the URL for you. Click OK. And now you have a link that goes to the athletics page from here. So now that we've gone over images, links, subheads, uploading PDFs and uploading JPEG images, let's move on to something a little bit more advanced. We're going to talk about tables. So tables are often used to show maybe like a calendar of some kind, or maybe you've got a bunch of Zoom links that you want to put into a table so that you can tell people like what the time and date of the Zoom session is. We're going to build out a Zoom session table on this web page here. And we're going to do it with UNL responsive table generator. So I'm just going to grab my CMS training page because I want to show you where this is. So let's say you pulled up that web page I sent you all. This is the page, Content Management System Training. Scroll down that page. Or actually, kind of think of it, use our nice little table of contents. If you click Working with Tables, you'll see this language here. And you'll see a link to UNL's responsive table generator. We're just going to click that. It's going to take us to this page on University of Nebraska-Lincoln. This is a really nice feature where you can build a table using a visual interface that's going to generate the HTML for you, which kind of takes all the work out of it. So I'm going to show you how to use this tool real quick. Let's say we're going to have 5 rows and 3 columns. And our headers are going to be time, date, and Zoom link. You can see a preview over here of what that looks like. So it's a table with a header for time, date, and Zoom link across the top. Make sure you have this checked. It says first row as table header and also first column as table header. These other styles won't translate, but you just need to make sure you have first row as table header checked. So let's say we do like 1 p.m. 2 p.m. 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. I'm going to do I'm just going to put some dates in the column, in the middle column, and then Zoom link, we're just going to do going to put link here. You would basically just copy and paste the ID or the actual link in there. Now up here, your HTML output, you're going to select all. Sorry. You're going to copy, get out of UNL, go back to your content, switch to code view. And just paste that in there at the bottom or wherever you want your table inside your content. And there you go. You've got a responsive table. Let's go back to WYSIWYG and see how now we have a nice little table in there. I'm going to save and publish real quick just so I can show you what that looks like. So let's get rid of the lines. There you go. So you've got your table header, time, date, Zoom link, and then it also will bold the first column as well. Now let's say, you know, to get into a little bit of an advanced topic, let's say you wanted to do like link text, like maybe you want to do the Zoom ID and you want to link it to the actual link itself, like a URL, because that's a popular thing people are doing these days. Click edit, click code. So we're going to do a coded link because you have to code it. So href equals parentheses, link here, and then this here. Let me just zoom in on that so you can all see it. You basically put this in here. That is a link. And then let's just grab a random URL to shove in there. Just do facts and figures. Your URL goes in there, like so. Let's say these are all going to be the same Zoom link. I could just copy and paste in here. And then save and publish, exit out. And then, as you can see, these are all clickable links inside your table.
Jaren, is that formula on the communication marketing website as well?
It is not currently, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this recording, like I'm going to edit it down and add it to our website shortly. So if you want to see this walkthrough anytime, you will soon be able to just watch this whole entire session.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any questions about how I did that or about using tables? You know, any kind of special thing you're trying to accomplish with tables?
Can you give other examples of when tables are recommended to be used instead of just like times and schedules like this? Are there any other general ideas for when you would use a table?
I'll tell you what, let me just reduce it because this is one that I do know I've seen before. Let's say you did like a list of like maybe names with like the person's position. And then maybe we created another column for contact. These are also useful. So let's say it was like Jaren Johnston. You could do, my position is assistant. You could say my number is 717-476-6866. And so on and so forth. Okay, so you could do name, position, and contact information. That could either be a clickable phone number or a clickable email address. And then, like I said, you just let's say we want to put this maybe like midway through our content. So I'm going to put it in here. And there you go. That's another way you could use them to structure data for contact information. And then you could use the same link that I showed you earlier to link these to like clickable phone numbers that would work on a mobile phone. I can show you an example of how that works. So let's say we're going to link my phone number. Just do TEL and a +1 717 476 6866. And see how that's written out where there's no spaces or dashes or periods? That's how you do a dialable phone number. So if someone clicks that phone number on a cell phone, it's going to make the device call that number automatically. Let's say this was an email. So John Doe at gettysburg.edu. You do mail to John Doe at gettysburg.edu. And if you're on a mobile device, or if you're on a just a regular desktop computer and you clicked this link would open up your default email application and it would start an email message to John Doe automatically. All right. So now that we've added 2 different kinds of tables to our page, and we've done links inside of tables as well, I believe in terms of everything that we typically go over, that would normally be pretty much everything. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask about things we've gone over, or you know, about anything related to the CMS?
Jaren, do we still need to send things for review? Like
Yeah.
after you've been you're able to save and publish directly, but we have a save and or send for review feature still, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So when you save and publish and send for review like you would have in the past, it's just going to go to me and then I'll see it and then I'll you know, review it myself and publish it eventually. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, I've been trying to edit a page like this with lists on it. And I like bulleted lists, but I don't like the amount of space between each bullet item. Is there a way to use a bulleted list that doesn't have all those spaces?
If you want the bullets, I think you're just gonna have to accept the spacing that comes with bullets.
Okay,
There's no like alternative version of bullets right now.
okay,
But maybe you might have an opportunity to maybe structure your content with a table instead of using bullets all the time. Depending
right.
on what you're doing, you might be able to use a table instead.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at your table and it looks like it still takes up a lot of space. And I was using a list without bullets and I liked the spacing, but the dots help, I think,
Yeah,
for readability.
definitely.
Okay, good.
All right. So any other questions before we get ready to sign off? All righty. So if no one has any other questions, then I guess we will. Actually, wait a second. I'm looking at chat real quick. Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Michelle, she sent one. Yeah, this is a good example of a different kind of table. Thanks for sending that, Michelle. I didn't see that in chat. All right. So if no one has any other specific questions, then I guess we'll just end this a couple minutes early. And if you ever have any questions in the future, or if you need to know if a PDF has any kind of errors, or if you're trying to do something that you're not sure how to pull it off in the CMS, always remember that you can email us at webmaster@gettysburg.edu, and we'd be happy to answer any kind of questions that you have or assist with anything that you need assistance with. Have a wonderful day, and I'll probably talk to you all soon.
Thank you, Jaron.
Yep. Have a good one.